Hello again. The other video went pretty well as far as hooking up a team. So I thought I'd do a little bit of a follow-up on when I do just a single. And I'll show you a few of the things I probably missed in that video as well. One of them is I normally check their feet and to make sure there isn't any rocks or crud in them. Come on, Butch. Come on, Butch. And you see how it's kind of filled up there. So I'll just take a pick, make sure that's cleaned out. They're not stepping on a rock or something like that. Their feet are in really nice shape. And I'll just go around to all four, and I'll do that before I put the harness on as well. So. Okay, now for when I hook up a single horse here, I'm doing it basically the same way as I do for a double. It's when the main harness is hitched up. And the difference is going to be is I have these rings on to put the reins through. So I got one of those on each side. And then you're going to have one more strap. And this is the strap that the pole goes through. And otherwise everything else stays the same on it. Make sure you get that underneath the tugs. So there's a little bit more to look, make sure nothing gets caught and so forth in it. I work this one out as a single fairly often just because he likes to eat and he likes to put on weight, so it just helps him keep in a little bit better shape. And so I already have this strap on because I just used him a while ago as a single, but this strap is just attached to the main harness by wrapping around this little strap around here, and that's how that holds on. So I'm going to go ahead and we'll get them hooked up, and then I'll go to show you how that how the shafts come in here. So this is where it's going to look like you're going to have two belly bands under here, because the one is for the shafts connected up here. When you put on a shaft, if you put one on one side, it's still going to pull down on them some. I'm using a wagon today that's not going to do that as much, and I'll show you that at the end of the video. The two different implements that I pull with the horses is if I use the cart, it wants to pull down a lot more. So I try to come in with the shafts to even that out the best I can, make them feel as comfortable as I can. Oh, there you go. Now you are going to notice one thing. I'm leaving the harness on. I'm sorry, the halter on. The reason why I use leave the halter on when he's alone is because I'm usually hooking him up alone, and that way I can take him out to the pen here. I can hook him up to the fence and then come up behind him with the shafts. So he all looks good now. He's all set, ready to go. So I'll just go ahead and I'll lead him out of the pen. And they don't like to be apart. They're fairly used to it. I've done it quite a bit. So that horse over there, he's going to look fairly concerned. That's the reason why I shut the gate down there in the pasture. Otherwise, he keeps following along. They keep calling to each other. Just gives me a few problems when they do that. So usually I like to use my wagon. It just feels more comfortable for me. He doesn't have as much weight on him with the shafts on him. And this is a pretty nice wagon. It's got shocks and everything underneath. And the Amish, I got this from the Amish. I got the cart from the Amish. Really nice people to work with. And of course, very knowledgeable. So if I have any questions or so forth, they help me out with it. And so this is what I'm using. So I'll just come up here, I'll grab the shafts. This wagon is, okay. I forgot to put the pin in. That would help. That's a very important feature there. As I say, that is the reason why you want to double check everything. Now I pulled it out of the shed, it was just fine. As soon as I picked it up now, here I forgot to put that pin in there because I take it out to make room in the shed, so it's kind of jammed in a corner. So I gotta get the pin, I'll be right back. So here we go, we got the pin in. We're in good shape now. That's why I say it's awful easy to make a mistake that can end in a disaster. And I'll just step on one side of the shaft and I'll pull this up. I like to pull it up. You can try to back it into it if you want, especially if you're two people. I like to pull it up to them. And you just put her in the loops. And then you want to bring those shafts. I'll go to this side and show you. You want to bring those shafts up even with the front right here. So it's kind of even across there. And that's about where I want that to sit. And then you can come back and make sure the tugs are in the inside of that shaft. And then just simply hooking them up. Okay, now, because I've been doing a lot of talking, and I can't talk and work at the same time, I'm just going to do a double check to make sure everything is just the way it should be on here, so I don't forget anything and we have a disaster. Now these are your brakes. So those I'm going to want to connect right back here. If I have those adjusted right. Yeah, we got a little too far up with this, didn't we? Oh, Butch, oh. There we go. These are your brakes. Again, making sure that the piece that locks them in here is on the outside. You don't want that rubbing against them. Now in this scenario, I do lock their brakes a little bit tighter. It's not going to be as tight as that because it's coming into him right now. As he pulls back, you see there's going to be a little bit of play there. But it's enough that it's not going to run into him or anything. And he's going to feel it pretty quick. So once we got the trailer then hooked up, now the reins. Remember last time I said the hardest part was dealing with all the reins on a team. With a single, I take the reins completely off, but they're very simple to attach. Now, a lot of guys like to use a rein that you can actually run through and buckle them in. They're quite secure. I'd have to agree with that. However, the Amish, this is what they use, and this is what he suggested for me to use. Again, I'm using a snap up there on the bridle, and it's been working good for me. It just makes sure those snaps are perfect shape. There's no flaw to those when you're connecting them. But really all there is you got one set of reins, and I've always said I can hook up a single horse in less than half the time it takes me to do a team, just because you're not having to hook them together, double check all that stuff. It's a lot more to watch. So what I do is I will just hang the reins back here. I like everything to be straight and neat, so maybe take a little bit more time on some of this than some do. And then you want to run it through this ring. Run it to that ring, you come up to this ring. Now your reins are up here solid on the horse. And then you come up to the bridle and you clip them in, making sure again that the locking mechanism is to the outside. And if it really, I guess my advice for anybody, if they wanted to get into this, start out with a single. I still think it would be the best. I didn't, just because this opportunity came along. And these horses, I mean, you can't get anything easier to work with than this. So now everything is ready to go on this, except him. He's either got to release some gas or he's got to release some fertilizer. I guess we're looking at gas here, so he's got that released. Now he's ready to go. When I take off, you're probably going to see the horses calling to each other. We'll see how that goes. They normally do. It kind of bothers them to be apart, so sometimes I have a little harder time getting them going. But we're going to back them up here. Back up, Butch. Back, back. Back. Good boy. And then, just to make it a little bit easier, I'll just pull him away from that fence. It's got the barn here and so forth. Oh, very nice to work with, as you can see. Now we're ready. Walk. And off we go. It's very simple to steer a single horse. You've only got two reins. You're pulling on the one to the right, go to the right, the one to the left, go to the left. So now you can see what it looks like at the rear view of just one horse. You only got one to concentrate on. You can kind of keep an eye on everything a little easier. That's why I would suggest anybody wanting to start driving, drive one horse a little bit easier. The only thing that can make it hard is if that horse does not like to be away from its buddies. And they will really start to call to each other, and they're just going to get stubborn. They're going to want to turn around. They're going to want to go back. I had that problem when I started to drive this one single, just because they do not like being apart. But once they get used to it, you know, 2-3 times out, but at least by the third time out, they're so used to it, they know the routine, and they just start going, doing what you want. Okay, Butch, trot, trot. See how nicely he takes those instructions? You keep them busy, you go out and you work them, and they're listening. They're just waiting for that command. Another very successful day here. Okay, we're back from ride here. As you can see, they really try to keep an eye on one another there. Hey Butch, you want to trot up the driveway? Come on, let's trot. Come on. Come on, Butch. Trot. One thing you want to do when you get back, you want to make sure they don't go where they want to go, but you're in total control. So if I see Butch here just wanting to get right back to his pen, I'm going to take him around in another circle around the place. Make sure that he knows I'm the one driving, he's the one being driven. Now he's looking off to that right side there, as he was hoping that I was going to take him over to the pen. I had to remind him, no, we're not going back to the pen, we're going the direction I want to go. So he listens to me the entire time. Now they're starting to do a little neigh at each other, which doesn't help. That takes his concentration off of me. He's doing well today. Sees it, but he's trying to lean to that right side, hoping that I'm going to turn in towards the pen. So I'm going to take him to the left and make sure that he knows, okay, we're not done. We've got some distance to go yet. Oh. Now I'm going to try to make him stand here just a little bit. Ho. Now he's getting to that, no, I want to go back to the pen, and I'm saying, no, you're not. Ho. He says, I've had enough, I want to go back home. But it's very important, this is probably the most important part of the drive. Make sure you're in control. This is where they'll test you. You're okay, Butch, we're just standing here. Ho. Now the other one does this much better. This one has some issues, so this is the one I really concentrate on to just make them stand a bit. We're the ones under control. Ho. Now you can hear them starting to call to each other. You just got to listen to me, Butch. No, Butch. You're okay. You're okay. This is probably the most he's tried to challenge me in a couple of years. Now he's settling down, see? Now he's knowing that I'm in control and he has to listen. See his ears come back? He's now listening to me. Saying, okay, we'll just have to wait, I guess. Okay, walk. Now I'm going to take him, and we're just going to go through the trees here a little bit. Butch is a little bit more skittish of all kinds of things. And so we're just going to go through the trees. He's done this many times before. However, you know, I have a different implement over here. I probably park a few different things over there. You can see he jumped just a hair there. A little bit cautious about, okay, what's out here? I haven't been here for quite some time. And those little bit of noises he hears, those are good things. Those are things that help him condition to just calm himself down and just take my lead. This is where you learn your trust factor. That horse learns to trust you. So just make sure you're doing everything right, or else you'll lose their trust. Now they're calling to each other again. This is good. Very good training for him. Now he's starting to trot. He's saying, you know, I just as soon get through here. We got a branch coming up. That's not going to bother him too bad. So we'll just go around that branch. watch their eyes, make sure a branch isn't going to be hitting their eyes. This is very good condition. Now we're going to probably, this branch is going to be a little bit in our way, I think. Let's see if we can't just pull around it. Get a little bit of an obstacle course going here. He's doing very well. He's starting to really come together. I haven't been back here, I don't think, all this year. So now Butch does not like to walk and go at the same time, so we'll just let him go, and he'll be on his way again. Just take him out into the hayfield here a little bit. How he's doing? He's trotting well because this surface feels so much better on his feet. The tar and the field pasture type surfaces feel the best on their feet. They don't like the gravel quite as well. I don't shoe my horses, so they're going to feel it. And Butch is a very strong horse. This is a very strong horse. He can pull you up just about anything. So we're going to have a little bit of an incline here, and it won't be any problem for him at all. He'll be able to pull us right up there. Up we are. Good job, Butch. Doing a really good job. So now we got over his testing us there, and we'll see how this one goes this time. Make sure you don't do the exact same routine every time. You got to break it up. Otherwise, they're just going to go by the routine. They'll just stop listening to you. So I'm going to once again just take him out before I bring him up to the fence, just to make sure he realizes I'm the one in control. Now they're starting to talk to each other again. Off. So now I'm going to turn him, and then we'll try one more time just to bring him to a stop, see how he does. Now he's seeing that gate. He wants to get back there. So we're going to stop him. Oh, Butch. Oh. And we're just going to sit here for just a bit. He's got to learn that patience. You bring them to a show or a parade or whatever, you want them trained very well to make sure that they're just going to stand there. And as a team, they're going to do this much easier. But as a single, especially Butch, he's going to test you. See how he's doing much better than the first time. Now he's flipping his ears back. He's waiting for the command. He wants to go forward. We're just going to let him wait a bit. Let him stand there. Now we'll bring him up to the gate. Okay, Butch, walk. Butch, walk. There you go. I'm just going to bring him around a little bit of a circle. I like to use that panel right by where Buddy's standing. So now I'm going to just bring him up to the fence. We will stop there. Oh, and there you go. That's the ride, and I'm going to have him stand here just a bit, and I'll tie him up there at the gate, but I'll just let him stand, as they have to learn patience. You're not just going to take it off right away. So let me step through here. got an itch, huh? And then we just reverse the equipment, taking the reins off. And he's tied up at the fence, so. You got an itch up here, huh? Doesn't look like the flies are bothering you too bad. Now, I talk to my horses a lot. I think it makes a big difference. I don't know. Some people may disagree with that, but I think they understand me pretty much everything I'm saying. I'll just give you a quick rundown of the two pieces of equipment I use here for the horses. The one, of course, is the wagon I just talked about. I really like that. It has the spring suspension under it, very smooth over bumps and everything. And of course, I have shafts here for a single, and you just saw me hook that up. The other thing I have, as you would have seen on the other video, is I have the tree here for the team. And this is how that setup looks with the cart. What I like about this cart is, if you come back here, Wendy, what I like about this cart here is back here you can hook up whatever you want to it. And it gives you different holes, you can do different options, add a hitch. I saw a guy add on another hitch in the back here. And then you can hook up to a hay rack, you can hook up to a rock trailer, a round bale trailer, whatever you'd like to, even a rake. I saw somebody at the threshing show, they were pulling their plows. They just hooked them up right behind the cart here, a tractor pulled plow. And that way they didn't have to switch it over. And one that has basically your horse equipment on it. So, of course, I like the bench seats. If you're gonna go do something like that, they told me like pull a plow, it doesn't work, or manure spreader or something, unless you get this bench seat off of here. You got to get a single seat. That has to go over to the side because your levers come right up here. But what I'm using it for on the hay rack, round bale trailer, we also been pulling trees through the grove. If we lose a tree, we don't like to take tractors out there because the tractors make a terrible print in the lawn, bump over it with the lawnmower and so forth. Horses don't do that. They don't have that problem. It works really good to pull your trees out, clean things out with. Again, this bed here, sure, it's only so big, but we use it to give people rides sometimes. We also pick up, small amounts of hay and so forth with this. So we use this for a lot of different things. Branches come down in the grove. We'll go through the grove and we'll just pick up branches and we can use that. So there's a lot of different uses for this one, but it's only so big. If you want a bigger hay rack or something, we hook it behind the cart. When you go to a bigger load, you got to be using a team anyway. You got to have plenty of power on it, so you don't want to put that much pressure on one. So that's what I have for equipment. It's simple, it's easy, it's able to be hooked up to just about anything. So thanks for joining us here once again at our Minnesota farm.